Welcome back to Steffi Fan's channel. Today we will learn about the explosive developments heading toward The Bold and the Beautiful on January 27th that promise to deliver jaw-dropping twists, romantic complications, and family drama that will leave viewers absolutely stunned and eager for more. Dylan's calculated strategy with Will Spencer. The upcoming episode brings a fascinating and potentially troubling development as Dylan positions himself strategically to establish a much deeper and more meaningful connection with Will Spencer. The situation unfolds when Electra Forrester discovers herself unexpectedly trapped at Forrester Creations, buried under an avalanche of late-night work responsibilities that demand her immediate and undivided attention. This professional obligation forces her to cancel what was meant to be a pleasant evening with Will, leaving the young Spencer heir facing the disappointing prospect of dining completely alone at what should have been a romantic and intimate dinner for two. The timing of Dylan's sudden appearance borders on suspiciously convenient, almost as though he had been monitoring the situation and waiting for precisely this type of opportunity to present itself. Without hesitation, Dylan swoops in with an offer to keep Will company during his now solitary meal, effectively transforming what could have been a disappointing and lonely evening into what appears on the surface to be an innocent case of friendly companionship and male bonding. Dylan presents himself as simply being a good friend who happened to be available at exactly the right moment, refusing to let Will eat alone when companionship was readily available. Will Spencer, possessing his father's trusting nature and his mother's optimistic outlook on human relationships, almost certainly interprets this impromptu dinner invitation as nothing more sinister than a thoughtful gesture from someone genuinely concerned about his well-being. His naturally easygoing and accepting personality prevents him from detecting any hidden agendas or reading suspicious motivations into Dylan's conveniently timed offer of companionship. In Will's mind, this represents simple friendship and the kind of supportive behavior that decent people extend to one another without expecting anything in return. However, Electra's reaction to learning about this dinner arrangement tells an entirely different and far more concerning story. Her feminine intuition immediately sounds alarm bells that something about this situation feels fundamentally wrong and potentially dangerous. She recognizes emerging patterns in Dylan's behavior that extend far beyond the boundaries of casual friendship or innocent acquaintance. The frequency with Dylan manages to insert himself into situations directly involving her becomes increasingly impossible to dismiss as mere coincidence. His apparent fixation on positioning himself as her rescuer, protector, and hero grows more pronounced and undeniable with each calculated encounter, suggesting motivations that run considerably deeper and more obsessive than simple romantic interest. R.J. Forrester capitalizes on his golden opportunity. While Electra dedicates herself to burning the midnight oil at Forrester Creations, working tirelessly to meet demanding deadlines and maintain the company's high standards of excellence, another man recognizes and seizes upon a golden opportunity to advance his own romantic objectives. R.J. Forrester, displaying considerably more emotional intelligence and subtlety than his competitor Dylan, determines that this extended work session presents the perfect chance to demonstrate his genuine supportiveness and authentic care for Electra's professional success and personal well-being. Rather than employing aggressive pursuit tactics or manufacturing artificial hero moments, RJ takes a more mature and respectful approach by offering to keep Electra company during these extended working hours. He genuinely suggests that he could provide practical assistance with whatever complex tasks and responsibilities are keeping her so occupied and preventing her from leaving the office at a reasonable hour. His methodology differs dramatically from Dylan's more forceful and intrusive strategy, reflecting RJ's understanding that authentic relationships develop through mutual respect, shared experiences, and demonstrated reliability rather than through orchestrated rescues and manufactured moments of dependence. Electra maintains her laser-sharp focus on completing her substantial professional responsibilities with the excellence and attention to detail that Forrester Creations demands from all its employees. She shows absolutely no indication of allowing romantic distractions or personal complications to interfere with her strong work ethic and commitment to professional achievement. Even with RJ's physical presence nearby and his obvious interest in deepening their connection, she refuses to permit her concentration to waver or her productivity to suffer. Her dedication to maintaining strict boundaries between her personal relationships and career obligations demonstrates maturity and professionalism beyond her years. Despite Electra's determinedly professional demeanor and her refusal to acknowledge any romantic undercurrents during work hours, RJ views this extended time together as invaluable groundwork for constructing a solid foundation for their future relationship. He possesses sufficient emotional maturity to understand that sometimes the most effective pathway to someone's heart involves practicing patience, demonstrating consistency, and proving reliability through actions rather than words. Rather than demanding immediate romantic reciprocation or expecting grand declarations, RJ focuses on being present, helpful, and supportive, trusting that Electra will eventually recognize and appreciate the genuine nature of his feelings when she is ready to consider romantic possibilities. Finn launches his delicate investigation into Sheila's awareness. The increasingly precarious situation surrounding Taylor Hayes' carefully guarded secret reaches a critical juncture as Steffi, Forrester Finnegan, finally voices her mounting concerns and deepening fears to her husband during an intensely intimate and vulnerable conversation. Steffi confides the anxiety that has been eating away at her peace of mind, expressing her legitimate worries about the potentially catastrophic consequences that might unfold when Sheila inevitably discovers the massive deception that literally everyone in her circle has been meticulously concealing from her knowledge. John Finnegan, fully comprehending both the gravity of his wife's concerns and his unique position as Sheila's biological son that grants him special access to her thoughts and feelings, agrees to carefully and subtly probe his mother's current state of awareness regarding the swirling deception that surrounds her daily existence. He understands that this investigation requires extraordinary delicacy and finesse, as any obvious questioning or suspicious behavior on his part could inadvertently alert Sheila that something significant is being hidden from her, potentially triggering the very discovery they are all desperately hoping to delay or prevent entirely. What Finn discovers during his cautious investigation catches him completely off guard and fills him with a complex mixture of relief and dread. Rather than displaying even the slightest hints of suspicion, resentment, or the paranoid vigilance that characterized her behavior during her darkest periods, Sheila speaks about Taylor Hayes with genuine warmth, authentic admiration, and what appears to be sincere affection. She enthusiastically praises Taylor's character, professional accomplishments, and personal qualities, without any trace of the bitter jealousy or competitive animosity that might be expected given their complicated history and the web of connections linking them through Finn, Steffi, and the extended Forrester family network. This unexpected development creates an incredibly complex emotional and ethical dilemma for Finn, who possesses both medical training in understanding human psychology and intimate personal knowledge of his mother's capacity for both redemption and regression. His professional background and life experience tell him with absolute certainty that discovering such a massive conspiracy of silence could trigger a psychologically devastating regression, potentially unleashing the dangerous, unpredictable, and vengeful aspects of Sheila's personality that the family has worked so desperately hard to keep dormant and controlled through inclusion, acceptance, and cautious trust. The inevitable explosion of Sheila's discovery. The current situation exists in an inherently unstable state that cannot possibly sustain itself indefinitely. And everyone involved in maintaining the elaborate deception understands on some level that Sheila's remarkably sharp instincts and formidable intelligence will eventually detect the careful choreography that everyone performs around certain sensitive topics and conspicuously avoided subjects. Despite her undeniably troubled history, violent past, and documented psychological instability, Sheila possesses extraordinary intelligence, keen observational skills, and an almost supernatural ability to detect deception that have served her well throughout her tumultuous and dramatic life. The conspiracy of silence that currently surrounds her grows more fragile and vulnerable to exposure with each passing day. As the number of people aware of the secret increases and the opportunities for accidental revelation multiply exponentially, the mathematical likelihood of someone carelessly letting crucial information slip during casual conversation or Sheila independently piecing together seemingly unrelated inconsistencies and contradictions in people's stories increases dramatically as time progresses, and the web of lies becomes more elaborate and harder to maintain consistently. When that inevitable moment of discovery finally arrives, as it absolutely must given the impossibility of maintaining such an elaborate deception permanently, Sheila's reaction promises to be absolutely volcanic in its intensity, and potentially catastrophic in its consequences for everyone involved in the conspiracy. The realization that literally every single person in her social circle, including those she believed genuinely cared about her well-being and valued her presence in their lives, knew about this monumentally significant matter while deliberately and systematically excluding her from that knowledge will cut infinitely deeper than whatever the actual secret itself happens to be. She will experience a devastating combination of betrayal, public humiliation, private shame, and profound foolishness for trusting people who clearly viewed her as too psychologically unstable and emotionally unpredictable, or fundamentally untrustworthy to handle sensitive information or be treated as an equal member of their community. This overwhelming sense of public humiliation combined with the agonizing pain of private betrayal by people she allowed herself to. Trust could prove far more psychologically damaging and trigger more destructive behavior than whatever information was actually being withheld from her knowledge. The emotional devastation of realizing that her hard-won progress toward redemption, social acceptance, and psychological stability meant so little to those around her that they still viewed her as someone to be managed, controlled, and deceived, rather than respected and included as a full member of their community, could completely destroy the fragile progress she has made. This destruction could trigger a catastrophic return to her most dangerous, vindictive, and violent behavioral patterns, transforming her back into the nightmare version of herself that everyone feared and potentially creating a threat even more dangerous than before, because now her actions would be fueled by the righteous anger of someone who genuinely tried to change only to discover that society refused to acknowledge or reward that transformation. Carter and Daphne embark on exciting wedding planning. On a considerably more joyous and optimistic note that provides welcome relief from the tension and drama consuming other characters, Carter Walton and Daphne Rose begin the genuinely exciting and romantically fulfilling process of planning their upcoming nuptials and imagining the beginning of their married life together. The engaged couple faces the delightfully challenging task of deciding where to hold their ceremony, how to blend their distinctly different cultural backgrounds and family traditions into one cohesive and meaningful celebration, and what type of wedding best represents their unique love story and shared values.